Welcome to Astro Weatherman. All right, it's fall 2024. And well, the summer flew by and we're heading into a new season. All right, so we're going to be looking at what the planets are doing for North America this fall season, for Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And uh, and we're going to also take a look at what kind of planetary energy is affecting the world right now in general, how it's affecting maybe our society, political systems, our economy, these kinds of things. And so when the sun moved into the sign of Libra, which heralded the beginning of the fall season, um, the sun was making what we call it was making a connection to the planet Pluto, and this connection is called a trine. It's a 120-degree angle that it was connecting with the planet Pluto. And so that energy, so Sun trine Pluto, is going to bring type of frequency and vibration to the world throughout the fall season. And so there's going to be specific themes that are going to be happening around the world. So we're going to explore that right now. So let's take a look at what can Sun trining to Pluto bring to the world? Well, leadership transformation is one. Now, this aspect can signify the rise of powerful leaders or the transformation of leadership structures. Governments or prominent figures might undergo shifts, and they might start to reveal deeper truths, or they can even be more assertive in their policies. Now, positive transformations in leadership styles can emerge, all right? And leaders might be more willing to tackle previously taboo or difficult subjects like vaccines and climate change, okay? Now, there's also going to be an empowerment of collective forces. So Pluto represents mass movements and the hidden power of the people. Okay, so this aspect might empower grassroots organizations or collective forces to rise up, bringing the potential for like widespread change. Okay, fingers crossed that can happen. There can be a sense of renewal where previously oppressed or hidden voices are finally empowered to speak up. Now, Sun trine Pluto can bring the revelation of hidden truths, and Pluto rules secrets and the subconscious and what lies beneath the surface. So during this time, important truths could be coming to light and revealing things like hidden power dynamics or corruption. Okay. Now, this is going to be a really good season for psychological growth and healing. All right. So on a societal level, this transit can symbolize a period where the collective psyche is undergoing healing. So trauma, past events, or suppressed issues might be addressed in a way that allows for, greater resilience and can be very empowering moving forward. So even on a personal level, this season is going to be a really good time for personal transformation and change, to heal old wounds, to empower yourself by engaging in healing. And it could also be a really good time to, let go of a lot of stuff that you don't need in your life anymore. So this could be a really great season to capture the energy of detoxification and cleansing, to get rid of anything that's toxic in your life, from toxic people, toxic situations, toxic circumstances, anything that's not conducive to your greater good or health. Good time to throw it out. Okay. So detoxification and cleansing, even in your body, great time to get rid of bad habits. So take advantage of this energy, this fall season to do all those things, right? Now, in terms of global, more global events and movements, this aspect might it could support movements that involve powerful transformation and regeneration, such as, some examples might be environmental causes, political reforms, or even the dismantling of outdated structures, right? So Pluto also represents rebirth and the underworld, right? Regeneration, issues related to death, regeneration, and survival could be highlighted, but in a positive evolutionary way because it's the Sun trine Venus, which is harmonious. So basically, In a nutshell, I guess a Sun-Pluto trine is a time of harmonious transformation where powerful energies are available to create deep, lasting changes in leadership, societal structures, and just generally collective consciousness. And it does have the potential for profound empowerment, both individually and collectively. All right, so we're going to see some major changes or opportunities for transformation in the world. We're going to see changes in power structures. And, the US election is coming up this fall. So that could be interesting. Now, Pluto always represents change, stepping out on a limb, but typically it represents some sort of a change of existing structures. So that could it mean that, uh, you know, could there be a change in administration, for example? Because Pluto's about changing the existing or the status quo. And so these existing status quo is, for example, the Biden administration. Could Pluto indicate a change into the Trump administration? But this is where it gets tricky because Kamala Harris could become the first woman uh, president. And so that also is transformative and changing. So it's going to be a tough one to figure out exactly where it's going with this transit. Either way, though, I think something that's really profound that's going to be coming up this season is going to be the revealing of hidden truths, things that were hidden before, things that were suppressed, kept secret. This could be a season where, mm, you know, truth is coming up, truth is coming out, coming to light. And that could cause a little bit of, uh, how shall I put it? I don't want to say revolt, but it definitely could be shocking in some ways and profoundly, and in a profound way. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what sort of secrets come up from the deep, dark recesses of our governments and officials and society in general. Now, Pluto does rule what is one of the big planets of medicine and healing. So it'll be interesting to see how things emerge on that front in terms of news, information, truths coming out in regards to things like medications, vaccines, medical systems, these sorts of areas. There could be truths coming out this season. That is a possibility, and or just a transformation in those systems. So and change in those systems. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays itself out. Yeah. All right. So that's that. We'll see what happens, but that's what the planets are saying. That's a planetary vibration and energy. All right. So without further ado, let's get to how the planets are affecting the weather for North America. Let's go. Okay, let's begin with the weather and Canada. So we're going to start on the west coast of Canada, and let's look at this brown line right here, and that is Saturn. Now, Saturn is the planet of storms, low pressure system, cold. It brings heavy moisture, especially in the fall, winter, and spring. So guess what, BC? That's going to be your sort of trend, unfortunately. Even in the upper west region, we've got this gray line. That's the moon. Colder, wetter, rainier, snow in higher elevations, cloudier. So BC is going to get hammered this season with a lot of challenging weather, unfortunately. So there you go. Now let's go to Alberta. And Alberta, you got this pink line that's going to be the dominant planet, okay? And that's Jupiter. And Jupiter is warmer, it's drier, and it's windy. It brings lots of sunny days. So overall, you're going to have a very nice fall season overall. Now, this line right here is Mercury, okay? And that's going to be the minor planet in the picture. Mercury tends to colder weather. It's a mix of sun and clouds, drier, windy. So we have both Jupiter and Mercury are windy. So there's going to be some strong winds throughout the fall season. So that's something to be aware of. Overall, it's going to be drier, but Mercury can sometimes bring the occasional blizzard. It can bring the occasional storm system through, and but sometimes some dumps of snow. But it's not going to be the norm. It's the exception and not the norm. Normal. So I think Alberta, you can have drier, warmer, windier weather overall. All right, now let's go to Manitoba. Oop, try to get rid of that guy. There we go. And the blue line is Neptune. And Neptune, the overall weather, that Neptune is cooler, cloudier, have typically lots of moisture with Neptune, or misty, so it could bring like ice fog, these kinds of conditions. All right. And then you have this other line, the orange line, that's the sun, that's the minor, warmer, drier, sunnier weather. So you'll have some beautiful above average sunny days, but overall it's going to be cooler, cloudier, and with moisture, or quite a few flurries, and or again ice fog for Saskatchewan. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. Manitoba, you got a couple planets, but the major one is Mars, this red one, and that one's kind of intense. Mars tends to hotter weather, drier weather, but more intense weather. So it can bring extreme highs and lows in terms of temperature, oftentimes, especially in the fall. So record-breaking highs, record-breaking lows. Definitely brings lots of storm systems in, but it's scattered, so overall drier than normal and warmer than normal for Manitoba, generally speaking, in terms of the big picture. All right, and then Ontario is a tale of two parts. One part of Ontario, the western section, gets Mars, and Mars is again warmer, drier, stormier, extremes and temperature fluctuations, but overall warmer and drier, even though the storms that do come in are going to be pretty intense. So watch for that in terms of Western Ontario. Eastern Ontario is closer to Pluto, and Pluto is the planet of extremes. So extreme weather in every sense of the imagination. So typically a lot more moisture. It tends to cooler to colder weather, and low pressure systems, and breaking records in moisture and temperature. So batten down the hatches for eastern and southern Ontario. Yeah. All right. So let's go to Quebec. And of course, Quebec is right smack in the middle of Pluto, the planet of extremes, extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme moisture. And so I think is going to be, cooler to colder than normal with some temperature extremes, maybe some really hot days, some really cold days, but overall cooler, colder than normal. Lots of storms coming in, and higher than average moisture level. So again, Quebec, like Eastern and Southern Ontario, batten down the hatches. All right, Maritimes. Now, Maritimes has got the green line, which is Venus right there. And Venus is a moderate planet when it comes to temperature. So it's not too hot, not too cold. So typically around average. It's moist, it's wet. So it brings heavy rain in the coastal areas, or even heavy snow in the higher elevation regions, or further we get into the season, the fall season. So heavier moisture is to be expected. Temperatures near average, but moderate. Cloudier days. That'll be the overall weather conditions for, and again, sometimes with Venus can be extreme moisture, extreme rain or snow. So watch for that. All right, that's it for Canada. Let's go to the States. Okay, USA, let's take a look at your weather. We're going to start with this brown line on the west coast, and that is Saturn, the planet of storms, low pressure systems, cloudier weather, heavy moisture. So it definitely is a bit of a gloomy planet weather-wise. So this is the kind of weather you might expect if you're close. The closer you are to this line, whether you're from Washington, Oregon, all the way down to the States, even western parts of Nevada, um, watch for Saturn because that's the kind of energy it's going to bring. Um, as we get to this pink line right here, this is Jupiter. They're really hooked up together in this image, but okay. This pink line, if you're closer to the pink line, you've got warmer, that's Jupiter. Warmer, drier, windier, sunnier weather overall. So that can be a really nice season coming up. You got some Mercury though. That's this other line right there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but that's this what color is that? It's more of a mustard color. Anyways, so look at that color, that color, that line. As you're closer to this line, now it's because they're hooked up with Jupiter, it's the minor, and that's Mercury. And Mercury is going to be cooler than normal, windier, um, partly cloudy, so a mix of sun and clouds, and it can bring the occasional bouts of scattered moisture. Okay, so don't be surprised if that happens. But overall, if you're closer to these lines, overall, basically from Montana down to Arizona, I think it's going to be generally a warmer, drier, sunnier, windier season with scattered moisture. All right, let's move this further in. Oop, get rid of that. All right. And then the blue line is the major one here. So if you're close to the blue line, basically from eastern Montana all the way down to New Mexico, um, Neptune, that's the blue line, Neptune. So Neptune brings cooler weather, cloudier, moisture. So rain, south, snow in the north, or higher snow in the higher elevations, mistier conditions. So again, mistier meaning fog to smoke to just so misty in that sense. So that can bring, sometimes Neptune can bring really weird or odd weather. So just be aware of that. So that's going to be the major. It's hooked up close to the sun, which is going to be a minor player compared to Neptune. So there's the sun is hot, warm, dry, a lot of sunny days. So you're going to have those, but not as much, especially if you're, from the Dakotas, from North Dakota down to Western Texas, you'll have more of the sun's influence. So that's the kind of weather you'll get. And then as you go towards Eastern Texas, basically from, so first of all, let's look at the red line. That's Mars. And then we get into extreme conditions. So this is what I'm concerned about, especially for the eastern US. We'll talk about that in a sec. But basically from the Dakotas, again, North Dakota, all the way down to eastern Texas, down to Louisiana, Mars tends to hotter, drier weather, but extreme weather. It can be violent, as Mars can bring some it excites the atmosphere because it brings energy, and that's heat from Mars, so that can bring storms. So do expect overall a warmer, drier season with scattered storms. And when the storms do come, they can be strong. So just definitely be careful and be aware, keep yourself updated when storms do hit, because Mars is and it can fluctuate in temperatures from extreme highs to extreme lows, but in the overall trend, it goes towards warmer. So Mars is an interesting one, that's for sure. And then we get further east, and then we get into, this is hurricane season, so this is where it gets dangerous and interesting. The black line, Pluto, and still here with the red line, Mars. Let's put it this way. The closer you are to Pluto, Pluto is another planet of extremes. It is one of the planets of extreme weather. So it can bring extreme moisture, extreme wind, extreme temperatures, extreme. So with Pluto, it definitely can get violent. So we have to be careful with hurricane season happening right now. So definitely concerning with Pluto along the eastern seaboard of the US, um, and even in the Gulf states with Mars, as Mars is closer to the Gulf states. So I think both, Mars to the Gulf states and Pluto towards the eastern seaboard, Florida, it it's going to be a season of extreme weather. The the possibility, probability of dangerous or violent weather is high. So we do have to be careful. Otherwise, yeah, so that is just what it's going to be. So I would say for most of the eastern US, even in the Great Lakes regions, because it's close to Mars, it's sandwiched between Mars and Pluto. It's you're going to have to be careful in your own way. That could bring extreme weather events, so heavy snow to heavy rain to just storms. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna have your nice weather in between everything, but again, this is just talking about the overall general trend, right? So there you have it, USA. Okay, Mexico, let's see what's going on with you guys. So we're going to start in the Baja Peninsula area. And here we have the pink line, which is Jupiter. And Jupiter is hotter, drier, windier, lots of sunny days. So overall, that's what you're going to have. You have a little bit of this mustard line here, which is Mercury. Can bring It's windy, drier, mix of sun and clouds, scattered moisture, but overall, I think it's going to be a beautiful season, fall season in the Baja Peninsula. Although it will be windy, the winds are going to be strong, so just be aware of that. And then in this region, still in northwestern Mexico, we've got the blue line, Neptune. And Neptune is cooler, cloudier, humid, can bring more moisture, but the further south you go, I think you're just going to see the danger with Neptune, especially in hurricane season, it can bring swirling storms. So hurricanes. So I'm kind of concerned about hurricanes in basically this region, right? We'll see. Hopefully not, but we'll go from there. Uh, yeah. All right. So as we move further east, basically the closer you are to this orange line, which is the sun is obviously hotter, drier, sunnier weather. So it gets hotter and sunnier and drier the closer you are to this line, generally speaking. However, let's look at this line right here, and that's Mars. So Mars is going to hit the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's going to stretch. There's going to be this dividing line almost where Mars really kind of stretches like that. Well, not so much. It's going to be, how can I draw this? Kind of, it is going to have a major influence like that. And Mars, again, is hotter, generally drier, but violent, extreme, storms, aggressive. So what can happen is with weather, um, this entire region, and I guess I should redraw it because it does stretch throughout it will stretch out as far as this, right? That entire region is going to have to be on the lookout because Mars can bring, especially during hurricane season, some very powerful storms. Because Mars brings heat to the atmosphere, it excites the atmosphere, and it can bring, again, violent, aggressive storm systems. Although overall, it should be hotter, drier than normal, but when it talks about scattered storm systems in this area, because it's hurricane season and this is like prime hurricane territory, I am concerned that the hurricane potential is going to be much higher than normal. And so they need to batten down the hatches. They need to be on the lookout and be prepared, because when Mars is active during hurricane season, it can be dangerous. So that's all. That's just the warning for that area. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope this is all wrong, and that'd be awesome if it's wrong. But we just do have to put that out there with astrometeorology and its principles. So, okay, there you go, Mexico. All right, there you have it. The fall 2024 forecast for North America. All right, we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, again, thank you all for watching the video, and please like and subscribe if you found this content interesting. I'm going to be trying my very best to be putting up a lot more videos in the very near future, so please stay tuned. And I appreciate all of you. So thank you again, and take care.